'tis the season to bake, and there's a difference between good baking and great baking. Where it all starts, your pantry. Here with the must-have items you need to take your holiday recipes to the next level, pro baker and decorator Elizabeth Mayhew. Elizabeth, where do we even start?
All right, well, it all starts with what you have in your pantry. You really need to have fresh, good, reliable ingredients. So starting off, Baker's Joy. Baker's Joy is a spray that you're going to spray on your pans, like your bundt pan, your muffin tin, your cake pan, so that you get an easy release and that cake comes out. The last thing you want is half your cake to stick to the bottom of the pan. That's a nightmare. So what's great about Baker's Joy is it's going to grease the pan and then it flours it. So again, extra insulation and help for getting that cake out. Next up, Crisco. My grandmother always used Crisco in her pie crust recipe. It makes for a really flaky, easy to use crust. The other thing I love about Crisco, it is an all vegetable natural shortening. So I get a lot of requests for vegan baked goods. I turn to Crisco. Crisco also helps your baked goods keep their shape. So definitely a good pantry. And I love that it comes in bars because it's very easy to figure out the measurements that you need, just like a stick of butter. You just cut and it's all marked there for you. Baking powder. Having good fresh baking powder is super important. Baking powder is what's going to leaven, give rise to your cakes. Baking powder does expire, and if you haven't bought it since last Thanksgiving, you might want to check the expiration date. You can also take a teaspoon of it, add it to some hot warm water, and if you get a fizz, that means it still works. So you don't want to buy Clabber Girl. Is a great brand. It's been around for 100 years, but don't use 100-year-old baking powder. The other thing about baking powder is it's like Clabber Girl is double acting. So you're going to have a chemical reaction when you first introduce it to liquids like milk or butter, or whatever, or milk or eggs, whatever liquid you have in your recipe. And then you're going to have another chemical reaction when you stick it in the oven. So make sure you're going to make your batter and bake it off. Don't let it sit around so that chemical reaction just fizzles out. Spices are really important, especially now as you're making ginger cookies or pumpkin pie. Think like nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, clove, all of those. Spice Islands is a great brand that you can get at any grocery store. The thing about it, you want to make sure those are still good as well because they can lose their potency after a while. You want to store them in a cool, dry place, so check those as well. And lastly, whatever you do, use real vanilla, pure vanilla extract. Do not buy imitation. Pure vanilla extract gives a really depth, it gives depth and complexity and flavor to your baked goods. I use it in really almost everything. It also adds just a faint sweetness, so it allows me a lot of times to cut down on some of the sugar. So those are some of the things that I have in my kitchen that I will tell you definitely helped with your baked goods. And if you want recipes or more information, you can head to bakingathome.com. Tons of resources.
Awesome. Absolutely love pure vanilla, by the way. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you.
Well, switching gears now.